Hi, welcome to the Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast. I'm Justin Janowski, your host, and I'm the founder of Faith to Influence. I started my Christian coaching business in December of 2018, just hoping I could make it. I felt scared, nervous, tossing and turning. I knew I needed to earn 60 grand that year to stay in business and provide for my family, and God did way more with that business idea than I could have imagined. We collected over $250,000 in year one, and obviously, God's provision was the biggest part of that. I also, though, recognize now that I had a lot of experiences that helped me understand business design, offers, pricing, sales strategy, money and sales mindset. I mean, like, this stuff is so important, and the common Christian coach really struggles with these things. So those are the things we tackle in this podcast. You guys, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know I'm a one-take guy. I'm not going to edit this out. I hope you laugh and have fun, and I hope you remember that it's okay to be authentic. Being authentic is more important than being perfect. Back to the episode, though. Today in the Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast, I want to talk to you about passive, assertive, and aggressive. These are three different approaches to everything we do in our business, but there's specifically three different approaches to marketing, three different approaches to prospecting, and three different approaches to sales: passive, assertive, and aggressive. Now, most Christian coaches I know are afraid of being too aggressive. And sales in general has this old story of aggressiveness, sleaziness, pushiness, deception, greed. We watch movies, we read books, we think of the old car salesman. Most people are like, I would never want to be in sales, or I don't want to talk to a salesperson because of this old aggressive way. Now, part of the mission at Faith to Influence is to change the way the world feels about sales, to get enough high integrity salespeople showing up in such a way that we forget about that old way of doing things. But what I know is most of you don't struggle with that. It would, of course, be a problem if you did. Your audience would not respond well to you if you were too aggressive, too pushy. In today's world, those tactics are incredibly ineffective because people care about people, relationships, nuance of how they're communicated with. And if somebody's too pushy, too aggressive, it turns people off and they say no. They reject that. The world rejects that. Now, I'm not talking to you about this because you're struggling with that problem in most cases. Maybe 1% of you would recognize, I'm too aggressive, I'm too abrasive in how I respond to objections. If you're in that 1%, I want to invite you to a higher level of assertiveness. I want to invite you to soften a little bit. But I know that's only about 1% of you Christian coaches. Most of you, because of this aggressive archetype of how people show up in sales, you go too far to the other side. You swing to passive. You're like, I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to be abrasive. I don't want people to feel like I was too much. So I'm going to be too little. I'm going to be too small. I'm not going to make it easy for the right people to say yes. This is the problem most of my clients face. They're actually avoiding sales altogether. Like, they're so passive that they're avoiding sales altogether. They don't want to ask somebody to get on a call because that feels like, what if they think it's aggressive that I asked them to get on a call? What if they think it's aggressive that I made my offer? What if they think that the whole idea that I'm inviting them to something in sales makes our relationship weird? And so they avoid sales altogether. Like, I'm just not going to do it. Now, they don't even consciously make that decision. Here's the problem. Most Christian coaches who are extremely passive to the point of sabotaging their business completely don't even know what's happening. They are doing enough other things in their business to feel busy. They're learning. They're working on their website. They're making a marketing post here and there. They're developing content. They're writing something down. They're getting in a meeting. They're meeting somebody who's also in their industry and networking. They're going to a B&I group. They're doing enough things to feel busy and have the illusion of progress, when the truth is they've been stuck in the same place for months or even years. Oftentimes stuck at the starting line because they've avoided sales. If you're listening to this episode and you have not held a sales call in the last 30 days, there's a problem. I know. I shouldn't talk about that. We don't want to face that truth, but there's a problem. If you're listening to this episode and you haven't held a sales call in the last 90 days, there's a big problem. And in some ways, you might be choosing to fail. You might have this unconscious sabotage going on. And it's not fun to face that reality, but it's true. If we want to grow our business and be successful, we have to be having real conversations with real people and inviting them to buy. That's the only way. Real conversations with real people and inviting them to buy. Everything else that we do should be leading to real conversations with real people where we can invite them to buy. And if the activities that we're acting on are not leading to those real conversations with real people, we need to upgrade the strategy. I'd love to help you with that, by the way. You probably need our sales school for Christian coaches, where we work together on live training, live coaching every week to help you conquer those barriers, those mental mindset issues, and to learn a strategy that feels so good for you and the other person that you stop avoiding. So if you're avoiding because you think sales is going to be aggressive, maybe you haven't identified that till right now, but there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to force people. I don't want to pressure people, and it's causing you to do nothing. We have to change that. We have to change that mindset. It's a mindset first. And sometimes getting the strategy can allow the mindset to relax, to know, okay, I can do this in a way that feels good. If you're interested in our sales school, by the way, just reach out. Send me an email, justin@faith2influence.com. That's faith, the number 2, influence.com. I would love to hear from you. Like, Justin, I'm struggling. I know I've been in that passive place around sales for a long time. For too long, where I've been avoiding it. Or maybe you've been getting on sales calls, but you're not asking for the order. You're like having a great conversation, but then never actually making your offer. Or you're getting an objection and you're shutting down immediately because you're passive. If you're struggling with any of these things, booking sales calls, asking for the order, responding to objections because you know that you're stuck in this passive pattern, email me, justin@faith2influence.com. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to give you some feedback. I'm happy to get on a call or connect you with somebody on our team who can get on a call to talk about taking this problem on head on and solving it. And if you're interested in our sales school, we'd love to share more about that and see if it's a fit for us to work with you. But this passive piece, biggest problem, I think, plaguing most Christian coaches. Even what I just did, though, what I hope you notice about what I just did was something assertive. Something right in the middle, right? I actually just made an offer. I said, I'd like to work with you in our sales school. I told you what to do next if you want to take action on that. Now, I didn't walk through all the details and all the pricing. Our podcast isn't really the venue where we do that most often. But I asserted, so there wasn't like this aggressive thing, but it wasn't passive. I was willing to talk about what we do and tell you what to do next. That's assertive. And hopefully it felt like it was loving. And if you want to rewind, I wasn't really planning that. I'm kind of ad-libbing here. I wasn't planning that call to action in the middle of this sales conversation. Ooh, isn't that interesting? This podcast conversation, which to me is a sales opportunity. Part of what we do with this podcast is provide free content, exceptional value, and we connect it to a call to action consistently so that we can take this exceptional value and this service-based podcast that we provide to people and turn it into paying clients. That's assertiveness, right? It's not a sales-focused podcast where all we're trying to do is pitch you, and make sales. That would be too aggressive, right? You probably wouldn't keep listening. But it's also not a podcast where I'm like, I just want to help people. I just want to add value. But I'm never going to talk about what I do and how to take the next step. That would be too passive. We're going to focus on marrying the two in the right quantities, striking that important balance, and finding assertiveness. This is what you want to do when you're prospecting. You want to be assertive, not aggressive. But there's an assertiveness that's required to even send the message in the first place. So we want to send a loving and influential message when we're prospecting. This is the sort of thing that we help our clients with all the time. Additionally, when we're on the sales call, we need to lead. We need to be an assertive leader on the sales call, not aggressive and pushy and abrasive, but not just trying to make friends. We're leaders in the way that we show up on sales calls. We're authorities. We're experts in our area of business, the thing that we help people with. And so we should show up like that. They should feel our assertive leadership. In the way that we make our offer, it should feel assertive, not aggressive, not passive, not non-existent. It should be somewhere in the middle. I want you to find your authentic leadership voice, which probably has a certain amount of authority and assertiveness to it. And there's a range to that based on your personality type and who you are. But I want you to find your version of that and how you invite people to buy. It doesn't have to be something that's scary or big or crazy for you or them. It can feel light and easy when done assertively and lovingly. when we're marrying those two pieces. And it's the same thing in responding to objections. We don't want to be aggressive, abrasive. I don't like objection handlers or canned lines like some people have. That feels too aggressive to me. People oftentimes respond to objections in such a way that they would try to paint somebody into a corner to make them buy right now. There's too much challenge in that. And if when we receive an objection, we panic, we're missing the boat as well. If we panic and shut down and we end the sales call when there's a question, a concern, an objection, we're really going to miss opportunity. What I know about being in sales for 19 years is that almost every person who buys has an objection, a question, or concern that they need to work through before they buy. Not everyone, but probably 80 to 90% of people have an objection, question, or concern before they buy. Our opportunity is to remain calm, confident, and curious, and assertively respond to the objection as a leader. To validate the objection, to ask curious questions, to make sure we fully understand, and to ask good questions to help people ultimately make the best decision for them. That's assertive. That's coaching. That's leadership. And when done right, that's sales. I hope this is helpful for you. I want to call you away from aggressiveness in sales. I want to call you away from passiveness in sales. And I want to invite you to being an assertive leader. The same way that I believe Jesus would want us to show up in business and in life, with assertiveness, with balance, with leadership, with love. This is the way. I hope this is helpful. God bless you. I'll see you next week.